Hello, I'm Margherita Sani from NEMO, the Network of European Museum Organizations, and I'm here today with Elis Marçal and Amalia Siatou of Eccch, the European Confederation of Conservator-Restorers organizations, to talk about the European Collaborative Cloud for Cultural Heritage and the benefits that it can bring to conservators and restorers. So first of all, Elis, what is Eccch and who does it represent?
Okay, so ECCO is it's a network of the National Associations of Conservators Restorers across Europe. It's a voluntary network, so it's the professional bodies that join ECCO, and therefore we create this big confederation. Currently, we are 29 organizations from 26 countries, and we are the only European body that represents this professional profile. So, and we represent the recognized national associations. We have registered more than 6,000 professionals, but in fact, we represent a far wider class of workforce around Europe.
And now coming to the people you represent, which I understand are both institutions, private professionals, what is the current level of digital literacy in your field? Conservator-Restorers, both private and those working within institutions.
The digital literacy, it's actually very different than she says. It has a generational issue because it's not the core. Digital is not the core of conservation restoration. So evolving field, newer generations might be more digital. But those who are working, you can have people who basically operate with Microsoft Word, Excel, phone, Photoshop. Two people who actually do PhDs related to that field. But again, the digital is a mean within a professional practice. It's not a core mandate of conservation restoration. So you can have all sorts of digital literacy. And then you have, as you said, the institutional professionals and the private professionals. And these have completely different requirements, different demands, different requests from whomever is calling for their services.
So having said that, I don't know if you have something else to add to that.
Yeah, I would say basically that it also depends on how we define digital literacy, because for us, most digital tools applied in conservation restoration are related to imaging. And if we go to related fields that conservatory restorers are also involved, would be closer to conservation science, of using different types of analysis that would imply digital applications. So within this field, it's also how the division between the private and the institutional, because institutional has more access to all of these tools in comparison to somebody that would work as a freelancer or private practice. So imaging is one of the most important things that we apply, and then going into other type of digital tools that would require cataloging, registering information, documenting our work, and so on, which is what Elis already said about the use of simple tools like Word, Office, or Excel. And as we're discussing, we're talking about proprietary tools, okay? We don't have easy access to open access and free tools to do our job.
So you have already started to answer my next question, which is what are the challenges for professionals, conservator restorers in becoming digitally literate? So in, taking this complex part of digital transformation.
Yes, well, yes, it's true. We already started going into this type of conversation, mainly being having the resources. So we are missing the resources, and we are missing the.
Yeah, because it really depends on what is being asked of us. Again, as digital is not a core, it becomes a vehicle, a mean of us working. It really depends on the context of our project. Being an institution, as Amalia said, we are within a physical infrastructure that might have more or less resources, technical, digital, human, money, funding opportunities. So that will set the context and the environment where the professional will work. And then you can go from inventory to reporting to imaging to do conservation scientists, all of that. But then you have the other side, which is the private sector, which is huge. And sometimes people kind of forget private sector, meaning the provision of conservation restoration services to the public institutions. It's the hugest market. The majority of us are in those positions across Europe. So in that regard, then our challenges are even more increased. What resources we as private professionals have or small companies? What rights do we have to the data that we produce, to the work that we produce? And we're not talking about administrative procedures, we're talking about legal frameworks. We're talking about legal obligations. We're even talking about regulated professions and regulated practices, procurement rules. So the challenges can go from I don't have the skills to the legal framework in my country doesn't allow me, and everything in between.
Yeah.
So we're discussing about access, ethical restrictions, and
Ownership
knowledge.
and ownership.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's get to the European Collaborative Cloud for Cultural Heritage, where you are partners in the ECCO's project. What are the added value that the cloud can bring to Conservator-Restorers?
Well, we are with our colleagues in the cloud, in the project, are in a learning process of actually how this is going to become a reality. So we're still learning in the process of what is the added value, what is in it for me. But I can see a lot of things that still need to occur and to happen, but I already see a potential, a good potential. If the cloud allows, and this is for the single professional, if the cloud allows the single professional to somehow engage with other professions that in their current practice wouldn't be able to engage because they live in another country, they work in a different field. So if the cloud allows as a sort of a hub, a portal, opportunity to engage with other professionals from our field and other fields, domains, this can be a good opportunity because it gives us access to expertise, to knowledge that otherwise would be complicated in my daily life as a professional trying to, just do my business. So I see a potential there. There's a lot of things that need to be in place for this to happen in a positive manner, but the cloud makes itself as a digital opportunity to reach out. So I see there as a good thing for even if I don't interact a lot. Again, going back to data access, property rights, ownership, and all of that, just having the access to that, I see as a positive thing. And this is something it's already easy for us to explain. The details is another step of our process. But then, of course, from institutional point of view, different doors can open.
Yeah.
It's about how the technical solutions of the cloud really make life easier for institutions, for museums, for big companies, small companies. But I see that positive point.
And to be more specific into what the cloud is actually building and to consider the entire part of the cloud, not just the ECCO's project, but also the sister projects that are involved, besides the opportunity of collaborating, which is part of the collaborative cloud, it's also how an end user and an individual can benefit from the applications that are built. Speaking from ECCO's itself on the different vertical applications, and in one that is specifically designed for Conservator-Restorers, the OCRA application that would give the possibility to use simple 3D models to do annotations of important information for an end user, whether they're trying to report in terms of condition mapping or work that has been done on an object. We can find other solutions within the sister projects for that are there to aid the Conservator-Restorer specifically. And I don't know if we want to mention specific projects.
No, but we could mention what for us is essential.
Yeah.
If these solutions, again, are very
Shall we make this the very last question of
Yes.
this conversation?
Yes, yes,
What
yes.
is that we're getting
Yeah,
there?
because again, if they serve as what Amalia said, if it's easier, faster, and efficient in my daily practice, professionals will use it. So there's again an opportunity through the vertical applications to provide that. But again, our core is conservation restoration. So how conservation restoration becomes easier, faster, accessible, efficient, then yes, there's a lot of potential.
As you were saying, because you are, Eccco is in a learning
Process.
and we are kind of like halfway through the project, not yet halfway through, but almost. What, if you had to put it into a wish list for you of expected outcomes from the cloud that would support and facilitate the work of Conservator-Restorers, what would you say? But just to keep it very short, just a message to the
Well,
developers.
it's already what has been said.
Yeah, make it
Applicable, practical, easy to use.
Yeah.
Most importantly, free
free, not expensive.
or cheap. Something that an individual, the private practice conservator, would benefit from and would require as an actual tool to help their everyday practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can close it here.
Yes.
Thank you, Zaina, so much.
Right.
Thank you.